Boom! How's it going? How's it going? Welcome to M5 Property Addicts. This is the channel where we talk about anything and everything around real estate. And today we're wanting to talk about limiting beliefs and limiting beliefs that hold us back from our progress in the real estate space. I've been doing real estate for the last couple of years, and yeah, we're all about passive income through property. That's what we're all about, and we are always pushing hard to make sure that we've got some passive income. So hey, welcome aboard. If you've never been here before, my name is TJ, and we are here every day, Monday to Friday. We talk about property and we talk about real estate, and we focus predominantly on passive income, which is we buy properties and we rent them out. We buy properties and we rent them out. That's the thing that we do. Is it good to do flips? Hey, I ain't in that. So, but if it's your game, that's all right. So if you've never been here before, that's what we do. And if this is your second time, third time, fourth, 100th time, boom, welcome back. How's it going? And like it is on a Thursday, we speak legacy. And yeah, so we call it Thursday Legacy. And I just want to dive into a conversation. And this conversation is actually very kind of like very close to my heart in terms of limiting beliefs. But I've titled this actually not limiting beliefs, but I've just titled it to say, what is our past exposure, right? Our past exposure, do they hold us back from success? And I want to tell you guys a very close story that happened literally 11 years ago. And I got reminded of this story because yesterday we had some people coming over to the house for insurance purposes, and they were asking us how long we've been staying in my house. And my wife said to me, hey, we've been here for 10 years. And I was like, oh, wow, time flies. And both of our kids have been born here, so things like that. And but the reason why we actually found this property where we are was we were not looking for a property to stay in, but we were actually looking for a place for my mom to go and stay in. And that's a story that I want to tell you guys, which is an amazing story. But before I go further, I want to jump in to say to you guys, where are you watching me from? In the comments below, let me know. Velile says, boom, boom. Yes, sir. Boom, boom. How's it going? So let me know where you are watching me from. And as I go along, if you've got any comments that you've got around the topic that we're discussing today, and I think this is a very important discussion. And I think this is where a lot of us, we get held back. And I'm glad that in my profession, when I used to work, I used to be able to observe people. That used to be one of my jobs, to observe people and to put mechanisms around after you've observed the behaviors of people. But I don't do that now. I do property investment, and I enjoy that. So before I go any further, hey, well done to the people that attended group coaching last night. I am told it was on fire. I'm told you guys went through some numbers, and if you're one of those people that did attend group coaching yesterday, just drop me some comments there. How did it go? If you have never been in a group session before and you're wondering what is that all about, well, it is, we've got a school that is called M5 Property Varsity, M5 Property Varsity. And there's a link in below here if you want to get some more details, but it's a subscription school, that's what it is. So you pay a minimum amount, $297, and out of that, you got access to the platform. Once a month, we do meet as a group, and once a month in a different week, we do group coaching, and there's a whole lot of gazebo of learning content that is in there. But let me not bore you with that kind of information. Let's go into the topic of today, which is our past exposure. Can it hold us back from our success? So I'm gonna give you guys a story, and this is a true story. And back in the days, I was working for the bank. You all know that I was working out in Africa, so I had some good packages, you know. So when you're working at the bank, for some of you who don't know, you get a discount on your bond. So you get a discount. So you're not paying, they call them staff rates. So you get what is called a staff rate. And generally it's around about 3 to 4% from the normal rates, you know what I mean? So that's a great savings. So it can be literally be like a 3 to 4,000 on a bond of like $1 million or something like that. You know, I'm just throwing out numbers here, but it's a great savings. Okay, that's the first thing. So I was working at the bank, and at that time, my mom, I could see that, you know, my mom is getting old. And then at that time she was in her mid 60s, so which means that now she's in her mid 70s. And I was planning ahead. So what I decided to do is I decided, well, whilst she's still able to make her own decision, let's go and check out some properties. And these properties were not just any other property. And by the way, at that time, I wasn't even thinking about property investing. I was more like a buyer, right? And there's a difference between a buyer and an investor. A buyer is just someone who's going out there, they look at the property. Oh, it looks nice. Oh, the coloring looks nice. Oh, how much is it? It's 500,000. But it's above market price. I'm going to buy it. Why? Because it's close to Spa. I can walk to Pick and Pay. I can walk to Woolies. Ooh, I like it. We don't do that. Nah, that's no property investment. But before we get distracted into that story, let's come back to my mom's story. And basically, this is what happened with my mom. So I wanted to put her in an old people's home. But because now I was starting to get exposed to, you know, zhuang of different types of old people's homes, I went in to look at what types of old people's villages are there, right? So there's the old traditional old people's home that we all know that are government run, okay? So you retire in there, and a lot of people are going to retire in there. And the reason why I also do property is that I don't want to retire in there, because you get like your soup in the morning, maybe you get breakfast. Like it's a sad scene if you go in there. They survive mainly on donations because, I mean, obviously the government can't sustain all of that. And by the way, it is not the government's duty to look after the elderly. It is me and you, the family nuclear, where we are. That's our role and our duty. Now, I want to speak to the fact that we went into this house, right? And this particular house, it was in a community, so in a complex, and it's nicely gated, and they called it a retirement village. And in there were a lot of them were 2 beds, 1 bath, right? And a lot of them, so there was kind of like a good split between two beds, 2 baths, and 2 beds, two baths. A lot of them were like that. That was the standard. All of them on the ground. So obviously for accessibility, they had ramps for what do you call that thingy? When you're being on when you can't walk and you're on is it a trolley? No, that thing. Wheelchair. Yes, wheelchair. So they had that, so it's easy accessibility. They got a swimming pool, and like the swimming pool is indoors. They've got a doctor on site. They've got a little clinic on site. And they've got what else, like a tuck shop kind of like going on site. And basically the old people's village here that I was looking at, they were actually still developing it. So I was going to buy from a developer, right? And I was looking at it. At that time, it was around about 480, if I'm not mistaken. So I took my mom there and I said, Mom, we want to go and check out here, and this is what we want to do. And I could see that the mood in my mom changed, but I didn't know what. But anyway, we went, and she decided to stay in the car for some reason. And I was like, okay, well, at this time, my wife and I, we still like boyfriend and girlfriend. So my wife was like, what happened to your mom? And I'm like, I don't know, you know? So anyways, we went in and we saw the place, we got the papers, and we came back home. And when I got home, my mom literally scolded me, slayed me. Had I not been an adult, and if I was younger, I'm sure she would have said, pants down, boy. She would have given it to me. Wha, wha, wha. And literally what she was doing here, she said to me, how dare you want to take me to an old people's home? You want to go and throw me. You don't want to look after me. And she went on and she went on and she went on. So here I am, I'm confused now. So I'm like, what you talking about, Ma? It's not like that. But anyway, she went on like that and she says, never again will you ever talk about this. So I'm like, hold up, chick. Right. I don't want to be in trouble again. I'm not going to talk about this again. So we case closed. We closed that case and we never spoke about it again. Right. Fast forward 10 years later. Right. So what basically happened there is we started seeing that properties in this side of town were relatively cheaper. So my wife and I at that time, then we started looking for properties. Then what happened was that exactly a year after that conversation with my mom, we bought a property where we are staying now, and that's our family home. We literally bought it like, I think it's about 2 blocks away from there. When we moved into this property where I'm staying in now, like all of my neighbors were like 70, 80. Like we used to poke fun, like, 8 o'clock we can have all the fun because, hearing aids are switched off. Yeah, okay. But having said that, right, this is 11 years later. So my mom moved in with me about a year ago. She had some medical complications and we needed to look after her and things like that. We sold off her property and yeah, so she's in with us and we're looking after her. And I'm happy that, the Lord can give me that affordability and I can be looking after her. So if you need to be looking after your mom, that's your responsibility, right? Okay, good. So nonetheless, we're here now. This is 11 years later. And now what's now happening is that of late, my mom's taking a walk around the complex and outside the complex. And she saw a group of elderly people that also walk at the same time that she does. And she came home and she's like, I saw a lot of people walking. So she didn't say elderly. She just said, I saw a lot of people walking and they take walks in the same time with me and they're of my age. And I said, yeah. And she says, I wonder where they stay. And I said, there's an old people's home there. So I describe it, the complex and things like that. And she says to me, it is so beautiful there. And I said, yes. My wife was in company. And I said, yeah, it's really nice because they look after it. Actually, the complex next door is also an elderly complex, but it's a little bit upper class. Those are 3 bedrooms and so on. So I started describing all of these things. And she says, I think it's nice there. Oh, they even have like a clinic inside. And I said, yes, ma, right? So I'm telling her all the benefits and she's confirming with me. She's liking what I'm seeing. And then my wife dropped the bomb and she's like, ma, do you not remember us going to that place and we were saying that we wanted to buy that place? And my mom says, no, she doesn't. And then I thought it was an opportunity time for me to drop the bomb. And I'm like, ma, this is the same property where you said to me. We came through and we went to see it and you stayed in the car. And when you stayed in the car, when we got home, you scolded me. Do you remember? She says, yes, I remember. And I said, right, that's the same property, So obviously I wasn't saying it, to punch salt in the wound, I wasn't doing it like that. But I was reminding her, my mom loved so hard to a point of tears. This happened like 2 weeks ago. To a point of tears. Why? Why was she having that emotional? It was emotional breakdown from a happy space and a sad space. And she came back, I think about a night or 2 nights, and she came back to me and she apologized and she says, my son, I am sorry that I didn't know that this is where you wanted me to take me to. Where I was thinking you are taking me to when you were saying old people's home, I thought it was one of those government places. I thought you were not going to be looking after me. I thought you were going to dump me there. So because my mom had never been exposed to this type of village or retirement village, the only retirement village that she had in her mind was the government facilities where old people are not taken care of nicely and all of those things. So guess what? She went defensive on me and she was like, this is not happening. She says, like everything that you can think of, like my mom is gangster, right? Like proper gangster. And she's like, this ain't happening. But 11 years later, she realized that no, she made a mistake at that time. And the question here that I then came through into my head, I'm like, how many opportunities do we see right now that because of our past exposure, we kind of like get into a defensive. I call that the dark side of the devil kicking in. The dark side of you kicks in, and immediately you shut down because of your past exposure. Your past exposure, that's the only thing that you know, isn't it? How many of us get into that space when a new opportunity is coming up? So maybe you've been robbed, right? You've been robbed of your money in a deal or whatever. Hey, that happened to me too, right? I've had bad partners in the past, having bad partners, that happened to me too. There's many things that could happen in the past, but the reason that we progress is that we need to overlook those past experience, because those past experience, if they're bad, they can be a limiting, they can limit us from moving forward. But what am I saying here? I'm not saying that we should forget about the experience. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the experience should at least teach us something. And when it has taught us something, how best do we progress going forward with the learnings that we've got from that experience, right? So in this case, my mom, I think I'm of the view that my mom should have come out with me in the car, should have seen, and then she should have asked, so where is the dormitory style if it is only a 2-bed? Where is the breakfast going to be served? Because that retirement village, what it basically is, it is a 2-bed, 2-bath. So you're in your house, but all of the facilities that comes with being frail, they are like what? A radius of 3 minutes or 2 minutes away within the same complex. So there's like a clinic 24/7. There's like a clinic in there, right? There's like a doctor on call, right, in there. The doctors come there, right? There's helpers that understand frail care that come in there. So you can come in when you're like mid-70s or even late 60s. You can come in and you can retire into your elderly. So it's a community of elderly. So you're like with your peers, right? But she didn't see that. She didn't see she didn't see it as an opportunity to jump in and move in. She was like, no, this is not happening. She was even closed in terms of hearing what I was talking about. So I didn't even have an opportunity for her to listen to me because of the past experience that she had had. Right. None of her family members have been. So actually, my grandmother died in her mid-60s. My grandfather died in his early 70s. Her grandmother died in the early 70s. So statistically, my mom is like anything can happen right now, right? Statistically, my mom is fine, by the way. She's not sick or anything like that. But I'm just saying that, my mom, she's like Margaret Thatcher. My mom is strong. She's my Margaret Thatcher. Like, statistically, within a family, she's like the 1% because she's going further than everyone else, right? So that's great. So we like, yay, my mom's living in a grace, but we need to be prepared. And I think that's for everyone. Everyone dies. We need to accept that. But the point that I'm trying to raise here is that even though we might be excelling in one area, there could be other areas where our past could be limiting us, right? So our past is holding us back. And for that reason, that angle there where we could have been going through and enjoying some stuff, we can't. So the question I want to ask you, and I want an answer, what is your past experience? What is your past experience that you think is holding you from your success? What is your past experience that you think is holding you from your success? One of my past experiences that used to limit me from my success was that when I started off going into business, I didn't believe that working with others is cool. I didn't believe that. So I believed in working alone. I believed that the world was totally against me. My parents, my mother had my biological mother, she had dumped me. My dad had ran away, whatever the case is. So I just believed that look, people are not cool. The only people that are nice were my foster parents, and I should only work with them. So that's me. So I kind of like had this mentality of like, I'm gonna walk alone. But look at me now. I'm like totally different. And when I broke out of that, I realized that there's power in partnerships. I realized that you can work with so many people, different mindsets. I started now intentionally going in to understand what cultures. I started trying to understand human behavior and things like that, because it was one of my limiting thinking. So what is your limiting thinking that you got? And how can we help each other to progress forward? Hey, for some of you who are saying that we're too scared to invest and all of those things, remember we're still fundraising for M5 Chart. So if you're one of those people who are wanting to invest, we're still open. And for your minimum of 100,000, you can jump in with us and we can go and invest together, and we can make that M5 chart growing. But for today on Thursday Legacy, it's a little bit of a storytelling today. And thank you for listening. And drop in some comments and let me know what you think around your past exposure. Your past exposure. What are the stuff that is holding you back from your days before Christ? Yes, that are holding you from progressing forward. You know them. I am dealing with mine. I know them, and I am dealing with mine every day. One of them was just that I just didn't want to talk to people. Hey, guess what? I spend at least 10 to 11 hours talking to someone else, talking to other people. But that used to be my limiting belief back in the days. I'm like, nah, I'm quiet, stay in my corner, let me observe people. But that's now making me to progress. Hey, it is I, TJ, Taurai Jack. It's been great hanging out with you. I am trusting that you enjoyed Thursday Legacy. To unlock our success, there are some things that we need to deal with. And this is it. We need to deal with some of those things that are in the closet. It is for your benefit and for the betterment of you and me. If you start progressing, I've got a couple of boys that I learn from. If you start progressing, I'm going to start learning from you. And that's what the world is all about. We all learn from each other. We've got different experiences. We've got different ways that we see things. And let's make each other better, and let's progress. Goodbye. Let's talk to each other again tomorrow on Friday. And Friday, I get to answer all of your questions. So don't forget to tune in as well. All right. We'll be talking to you later. God bless. Cheers. Goodbye.